I don't know if anyone necessarily believed in Team Liquid.
사람들이 저희를 그렇게 막 많이 믿으시는 것 같지 않은데
We had some great weeks and had some awful weeks.
그리고 그렇게 좋은 모습을 많이 못 보여줘서
There's been analysts that have said, oh, we're a top 15 team in the world. And then there's times where people are saying like, oh yeah, we don't even deserve to be in the LCS.
When you think about Curse/Liquid, our counter is Cloud9. It has been last season, this season.
They're gonna keep going on Liquid here. That's the damage coming in. Double kill for Sneaky.
And they've always done well against us in the playoffs.
There's the knock-up attempt. They have Founding Special. That's one going down. Unleashed Power goes on high, but he's got Guardian Angel. Cloud9, you're going to the 2014 World Championship.
And when you come in 6th place into the playoffs out of 6 teams, you're going to be the underdogs the whole way through. That didn't seem to phase us last week.
The biggest difference right now is the trust in each other that we have. We believe in ourselves.
왠지 저희 팀원이 저를 믿는 것 같고 해서 저도 그렇게 저를 믿어주니까 저도 그렇게 보답을 해야 되니까
갑자기 막 없던 시너지까지 막 올라온 것 같고 피글렛 선수가 자기가 월드 챔피언이었던 걸 증명한 것 같습니다.
I think we showed the world that we are a strong team when we're at our peak.
I think we have what it takes to beat Cloud9.
Welcome everyone to the 2015 North American LCS Spring Playoffs. We're coming to you live from our studios here in Los Angeles. It is semi-final weekend and the fans are pumped up for a full day of action out on the Rift. As you can see, they were loading in earlier. Team Liquid getting into the studio a short time ago. They'll be looking to extend their impressive playoff performance today against Cloud9, and Cloud9 jumping into the studio, looking to reclaim their North American Championship title, and that starts today. There was an exciting 3-2 over in Europe, looking for just as an exciting game today. Hello, everyone. I'm James Patterson. Last week, Team Liquid and Impulse fought their way through the quarterfinals, but the road only gets tougher this week as they face off against our top 2 teams, Cloud9 and TSM. And joining me on the desk to break down the action, we have Aiden's Irene Moon, David FLICKR, and CLG's top laner, Zion Spartan. How you guys doing today?
Great.
Really well.
A whole bunch of fun. I'm really excited for these semis.
All right. Well, this week we learned who would be joining the North American LCS. Enemy Esports defeated TDK 3-1 in the Challenger Series finals and have clinched their spot in the upcoming summer split. And in the LCS playoffs, we have already had a few surprises, so let's pull up the bracket to see how the teams are arranged. Team Liquid swept CLG 3-0, and today will face off against Cloud9. Then tomorrow, our defending champions, Team Solo Mid, will face off against the team who have been on a hot streak, Team Impulse. And what do we think about that bracket so far, guys? Looks pretty good, right? We're going to set up for some pretty sweet semifinals.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be, I'm going to say probably at least 8 total games just in the NA semifinals.
All right, I like it. We like a lot of games. Now, the winners will advance to the finals while the losers will battle for the 3rd place seed and a chance to grab an extra 20 championship points. Those teams will carry those points into the summer split, and they will play a big role in determining which 3 teams will represent North America at Worlds. To give us an insider's perspective on today's semifinal, we're going to send it over to Kobe for an interview.
Thank you, Dash. Yes, I am here with Cloud9's coach. That is Charlie, of course. Now, Charlie, you're actually one of the longest standing coaches in the North American LCS, but people don't know a lot about what you do with Cloud9. Yeah, you do picks and bans with Elimination, but what else do you do with these guys? You know, you go over replays, do you have like sleepover parties where you do hair dyeing with Meteos and High?
I actually shared the same bed with Balls last night.
Good answer. Good answer. We'll leave that one there. Now, honestly, though, like preparing for a best of 5, especially after such a meta-shifting patch like 5.6, what are the big things that you're working on with these guys leading up to this best of 5?
We're right now in the tank meta, I guess. So we're seeing a lot more tank top laners and junglers. We had a lot of time to prepare for the match, and we saw Liquid play before. So I think we have a really good strat coming to the patch.
Oh yeah, after seeing Team Liquid perform so well against CLG, what do you think is Team Liquid's greatest single strength right now coming into this match?
I think it's Quas. I think Quas is their biggest strength, and protecting Piglet. Those are the key things that Liquid does.
All right, we'll look for that in this matchup. Now, we are going to send it over to Jat on the other side because he is standing by with Peter. What are your thoughts on Peter?
I love Peter.
All right, a lot of love between these coaches. We're going to send it over to him right now. Hi, Peter.
Thanks, guys. And yes, a lot of love coming from the other side there, Peter. I want to talk about last week, though, where you guys managed to 3-0 CLG. With 3 different team compositions in 3 games, what to you is the biggest difference between this best-of-5 format and the best-of-1 we had in the regular season?
Okay, so mostly in the BO1 game, we just test some new strategy because we are brand new lineup. And in the BO5 game, you have to prepare everything clearly, which you should use everything in the BO5 game.
Yeah, and it definitely worked to your advantage last week against CLG. But on this matchup, if you look at the history of Curse or Team Liquid versus Cloud9, you're actually 1-18 against this matchup. Knowing it's a best-of-5 strategy, how do you reverse that trend here?
Well, you know, Curse is gone, so just hopefully history don't repeat. We ended up at 4th again, and I think with this new lineup, we can make it better.
All right, well, best of luck to you today, Peter. See you on the Rift, and let's send it back to the guys at the analyst desk.
Thank you, Jet. Guys, it's an incredibly important weekend for all of these teams. And it's very clear that although there are favorites and underdogs, all of these teams deserve to be here. They've proven that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The late split has been so good for both Cloud9 and Team Liquid. But really, I mean, C9, they look to me like the best team in North America. They're on an absolute tear. They are 10-2 in the back half of the split. These guys have been absolutely crushing overall. You have Sneaky, who's the best AD carry in North America, hands down. You've got Meteos, who's right at home playing Zach almost every single game here. As we heard Jat say, it's an 18-1 record for C9 versus Team Liquid. Like, on paper, this is like the freest semifinal in the history of League of Legends, basically. And I think that's a bit of a mental block then for the Team Liquid players, where I actually talked to their analyst Mark, and he's like, we need to win game 1 so the team realizes they can actually beat C9 here. And the cool thing is for Team Liquid, they've got Phoenix and Piglet, who don't care about the history, who are coming in pretty hot now in the playoffs, who can actually lead this team into a playoff victory.
Yeah, and so it's a different Team Liquid than what we've seen. That 18-1 isn't just this lineup that we've seen. They brought on Piglet, who showed last week that he can play at the world-class caliber still, and then Phoenix, who also stepped up really big in that best of 3. He solo killed in the mid lane, games 1 and 3. He had a CS advantage, and he opens up the entire game in champion select with his champion pool, and then also spills that over into the game, so he opens up the mid lane as well. So right now, I feel like that is the biggest strength for Team Liquid in this matchup, because he's up against High, a guy who has a history of not adapting the best to patches and having a very shallow champion pool. So I'm going to have my eye on Phoenix here.
Yeah, I think like the most important thing here is whether or not Cloud9 gets the 2v1 or the 2v2, because I think if it's 2v1, Cloud9 has the biggest advantage. I mean, even when we played Team Liquid last week, in the 2v1, we got huge advantages. And while we weren't able to capitalize off of it, I'm sure Cloud9 will be able to do it. And I think when it's matched lanes, Quas against Ballas, Quas has been playing really well, and Ballas hasn't really had a good season so far. So I could see that being a really volatile matchup as well. And Cloud9 has had all this time to prepare. They've had 2 weeks. They watched the Team Liquid versus CLG set. They've been playing in the tank meta for all this time, and they probably have a really good strategy prepared. So I think this first game is going to be huge.
All right, well, we're talking a lot about which players these teams are going to have to rely on. Be sure to head over to Twitter and share your thoughts on our question of the day. We're asking who is the most clutch player in the North American semifinals and why. Send your answers to @LulEsports and use the hashtag LCS so we can highlight a few of our favorites later in the show. And a quick note, tickets for our upcoming spring finals are sold out, but we are excited to announce that tickets are now on sale to attend our outdoor viewing party. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come join us for a tailgate experience here at the studio to cheer on your favorite teams. We'll be bringing you big screen projection of all the action, along with food trucks and live coverage directly from the fan zone. Space is limited, so check out lulesports.com for more ticket information. Now, before we send it over to the guys on the caster desk, I'm going to put you all in the hot seat. Who do you think is going to win today's series? And what's the spread of games going to be? Zyrene, starting with you.
I'm going to go Cloud9 3-1.
3-1 Cloud9 here.
Jinx, Cloud9 3-1.
It's Jinx if you say it at the same time. Anyway.
I'm a time traveler. I did in my
I'm going to one-up both of you and go 3-0.
3-0 Cloud9. There you have it. Well, the desk is overwhelmingly in favor of Cloud9. Right now on LoL Esports, though, 62% of the fans say Cloud9 is going to be victorious. So I guess everyone's in agreement. Well, not everyone. I guess there's 38% of people who are not in agreement.
Team Liquid would maybe defer as well.
Right. Anyway, that's enough chit-chat from us. Let's send it over to the caster desk to get us into the action.
Thank you very much, Dash, gentlemen on the desk, and Zion Spartan. Hello, everyone. I am Rivington Bislin III, along with Sam Colby Hartman Kensler and Joshua Jatt Leesman. How you doing, gentlemen?
Doing this podcast again. It's a great series as well we got underway.
Hopefully we get 5 games as well. I am excited. It's a little chilly in here, and the games hopefully are about to heat things up. We're about to hit the rift for Game 1 of the semifinal series between Cloud9 and Team Liquid. These are two teams that have struggled with consistency issues we've seen throughout the split, but seem to be peaking at just the right time.
Yeah, Cloud9, they were able to take the number 2 seed on the very last day of the regular season when they defeated the top 2 teams back-to-back. And they've recently found success taking multiple tanks with a lot of that point-and-click pile-on hard CC. Worked really well specifically against Team Liquid in Week 8 when they were able to punish both of the carries, Piglet and Phoenix. And once again, Team Cup like that, when it does get ahead, very hard to manufacture a comeback.
Yep. And on the other side of this matchup is obviously Team Liquid, a team that is built to be a world's contender here. But to hear them talk, they consider themselves the underdogs and kind of have since the beginning.
It's pretty obvious why they consider themselves the underdog as well, especially for guys that have been on the team for a long time. Team Liquid or Curse, which is the continuation of the brand, are 1-18 against Cloud9 lifetime. And they've never taken a game off Cloud9 in playoffs. But recently, Team Liquid have really come together as a team. You know, they look the best we've seen when they 3-0'd COG in that quarterfinal last week. And also, if you just look at the team compositions and the strategies, Liquid may be able to punish Cloud9 in Champion Select. Because Cloud9, they show a tendency to continually go over the same champions once they find things they are comfortable with. And Team Liquid might have the champion diversity to counter that.
They may indeed. Dominate says one player they will have to watch out for is Cloud9's mid laner.
I think High brings a lot to the team that isn't mechanical skill. I think that 1-on-1, 100% mechanical skill. I think Phoenix is a better mechanical player than High, but I think High is the brains behind C9. He makes a lot of the shot calls and he makes a lot of decisions for the team, so I think that helps them out a lot. So I think that in a 1v1 CS war, maybe Phoenix will come out on top, but High is normally a really smart player, so he'll normally make smart plays around the map.
Yeah, and honestly, last week was the best Phoenix has looked in the LCS, plus High has had this little bit of extra time to maybe adapt to some of his new picks.
Yeah, not only was Phoenix play really crisp, but also he brought 3 different champions that are very different looks and very different strategies for the team. So he's really enabling that unpredictability factor for Team Liquid.
Not just Quas anymore for the team. Right now, we're going to check out the starting lineup, see what unpredictability these teams can bring out in Game 1. On the blue side, it will be Cloud9. That's Balls in the top lane, Meteos in the jungle, High in mid, Sneaky at 80 carry, Elimination at support.
On the red side, also the number 6 seed coming into the playoffs, it is Team Liquid with Quas, a big threat in the top lane. I will dominate in the jungle. Phoenix coming into his own in mid lane, and then that duo lane of Piglet and X Special.
Well, we can expect Balls to get the champion he wants, as his and Charlie's slumber party last night. Obviously give him priority pick and champion select. But as we go into this, I think it's going to be a huge variation coming from Team Liquid. But will that be able to carry them? Quas, had a huge diverse champion pool, but those didn't really carry games. We'll see if they can get that in.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about the solo laners, but I think the first thing you got to take off the board is the Lulu, because that seems to be the bread and butter for Team Liquid, something they obviously have used a couple of times already and have put in a lot of time practicing on.
Yeah, you nailed it right there. They also take out Vladimir because Phoenix showed a lot of success with Vladimir mid, solo killing Link last week in the playoffs. There are so many different directions you can take in these pick ban phases nowadays that you really can't totally block out everything, but they definitely do target some strategies. It looks like Phoenix bans, as well as I consider that Lulu ban a Piglet ban in a sense, because it disables his ability to hyper carry.
That's definitely a strategic specific ban right there. And it's interesting how Charlie even said Quas is probably the main strength for this team, yet they target Phoenix with a lot of the bans here. You don't always want to pile on all those top lane bans, but there it is, the Hecarim coming out so quickly. That is a snowbally champion.
And it's actually really interesting to me that they decide to first pick the Hecarim over Maokai. Because if we look at the games where Cloud9 beat TSM and the tiebreaker game against COG last week.
And Team Liquid. They used
first
it against
pick Maokai
as well,
all the time. It seemed to be the bread and butter of Cloud9. Reliable point-and-click tank initiation. Whereas Hecarim is more skill shot focused, more prone to falling behind. But it's also 2 weeks of preparation time for Cloud9 and a bit of a new look.
That's something we hadn't mentioned, is that we haven't seen these guys in a while. I have a question mark on my sheet on Shiv and Hecarim for Balls, and it's surprising to see him bring it out here. First time for this split. So we'll see now what Team Liquid answers with.
with a
Tanks.
couple of Cinderhawks is what they answer with.
Couple of big boys there.
Sion is one of the top lane champions that can run
Yeah.
TP Smite. He might switch that up because he doesn't necessarily need to take Flash, especially for his engages. And Siobhan is definitely going to go Cinderhawk, so there will be at least one in this game.
I was wondering how the jungle picks would play out coming into this one as well, because both Meteos and I Will Dominate are very willing to pick the tank junglers.
Yeah.
I thought Gragas may be a ban or highly contested pick here, but it goes hand in hand with Sejuani. I feel
So
like
much solo lane focus, yeah.
I feel like they're going to end up going with Gragas if they're doing the tank strategy, but you can never rule out Meteos trying to go AD Vi because he's done a lot of success just hard farming on that shit.
Well, also remember, one of the really good things against Sejuani is to have another really big tank on your team to take the Sedge ult. Just be in the front line so the Sedge ult doesn't hit multiple people. If you just stand in front, it's actually really hard to get it through a big tank into the back line. Now they've got the fattest of champions on the front line standing in the way to block it.
Nice pick.
The skinny ult dodged by the big champ.
Plus,
It worked-
Morgana
it
Black
worked
Shield
that
on top
way.
of it. If a single person does take the hit, he can even Black Shield him.
I like this hover here as well from Team Liquid on the Lissandra, something that High has had some success on as well. Those assassins, he says he does love to favor, and his ability to keep safe in those fights is a big deal because he can get himself into some pretty sticky situations.
Taking away the Lissandra from High is definitely a very big pick. Also because it's fairly good against Zed.
And Zed was left completely out of the ban phase here.
Yeah.
Which you have to wonder whether High is willing to pick this clean in to a Lissandra, no matter of the counter matchup.
In a team with two Cinderhawks, a Lissandra, and a Janna, they're kind of daring High to pick
The thing
Zed.
is, they could also be daring him to pick Jarvan. Because he picked Jarvan into Lissandra mid in their tiebreaker match against CLG.
Yep.
There were some differentiations in the rest of the team comp, but that is one of High's pocket picks that he has to decide on within the next 30 seconds.
Draven Jarvan? Are those the next ones?
Yeah.
Is that what happens again? Oh, man.
They need, I think, a little bit of magic damage. I wouldn't be too surprised to see High Corki mid in some aspects of this, since they have physical damage top laner, tank jungler. They want a little bit of a mix of damage if they want to avoid the armor stacking Sion.
Ooh.
Oh, so it's Draven Corki, not Draven
So
Jarvan.
it is. Now,
Corki mid.
Again, taking the double AD there when you're facing a Lissandra and a Sion and a Sejuani. They have a lot of tools for the hard engage, Team Liquid. So Cloud9 are going to have to work really well with the Gragas and with the Black Shield to put up a front line so that they do not just blow up Draven.
They ran a very similar double AD, but with a Nunu in the jungle and a Corki Lucian. So without that, you don't really need Blood Boy on those guys. Kind of switch it out for a Gragas, you got a little bit more.
One of the things that's very rare from a jungler is disengage. Gragas is one of the few junglers that does bring a strong disengage to the team.
Yeah, it's going to be relatively difficult for Team Liquid to engage on that. At this point, Piglet's last pick would just want to bring a little bit of reliable damage because he will be getting dove on by tanks as well.
Yep. Well, we talk about the team fighting from Cloud9. It looks like they've put together a composition to do so. Safety will come to the lanes here of Team Liquid. Sion ain't going to get pushed out of lane anytime soon. Janna shielding Piglet so he can stay safe, and he also can stay on the back line this game, as hopefully that synergy is still there for Team Liquid.
And the most interesting thing to me about this team comp is while Team Liquid is bringing a lot of lockdown, and normally the Lissandra Sejuani is free reign to kill whoever you want, whenever you want.
Right.
The fact that the mid laner matchup will be bringing Cleanse because he has the freedom to do so on Corki, as well as having a Morgana to block that, Team Liquid could run into some serious issues actually finding the team fights and could potentially get poked down by a Corki and a Gragas.
Yeah, we'll have to see how aggressively High does play this mid lane. If he tries to poke Phoenix down early and try and keep his CS low as well, because that's a problem that Lissandra also runs into. If she cannot hit her item breakpoints, she's very squishy, and then she will have to use her ult defensively sometimes.
Yep, you want to be able to get that out offensively. This is going to be a big one. Looking at these two teams, you ask anybody, they'd probably say Cloud9 coming off the bat, but with the way these teams have been playing, it's a much more even matchup than you would think here as we come into the playoffs. Let us know who you think will be securing their spot in the finals. Tweet at LOL Esports. Use the hashtag C9win or hashtag TLWin, and we'll be updating the fan vote throughout the series. Something I am very interested to see is with Team Liquid having such a late season surge, will they be able to find where that came from? Will they be able to do it again? Because it did look very good, but can it be replicated?
Yeah, and I'm looking at Team Liquid in the early stages as well, because they've admitted that they do not feel the most secure in lane swaps, and we saw COG get leads on them with lane swaps. But they're the team that actually is probably looking for lane swaps this time around. If you go normal lanes, a Hecarim with teleport and a Draven in your bottom lane is so scary to play against. If he gets off a home guard teleport gank early and the Draven cashes in, that is one of the most snowbally comps that you can possibly have here. So it may be Team Liquid actually looking for the deep wards to try and get Sion, who's very good in a 2 versus 1.
And anything Team Liquid can do to try and change this from a normal game they would play against Cloud9. There are so many similarities in this matchup from last year. Team Liquid 3-0ing CLG in the previous round. Team Liquid going through a late season surge and having a lot of hype built up behind them. It all came crashing down last year when Cloud9 3-0'd them in the semifinals. But as Peter said, the curse is gone.
Yeah, right.
They are now Team
Different
Liquid.
team.
New team. Streaks don't count.
New breath of fresh air. And it seems like they were able to find a bit of a second win towards the end of the season. The early game safe for both teams here, as they're not even going to cross for the deep wards.
Yeah, Team Liquid were able to spread out and deny the deep wards for Cloud9, but it looks like both teams calling the lane swap top. So Cloud9 may be able to find the heads-up matchup here. Elimination still hovering around down by bottom.
We need to be able to track the early jungle and top lane starts here. Something super common for Sion is that level 1 suicide camp. That does not look like what Team Liquid is doing here.
Strong side invade for Team Liquid.
Strong side invade. I wonder if it will get spotted, because if this doesn't get spotted by Lemon Nation, then Meteos would be at risk of getting counter jungled, and he's going to spot it right here.
Right now, though, Hecarim is going to get solo lane experience. Let's see, as Meteos does head into the other side of the jungle. As you said, Lemon saw the invade, so Meteos knows he needs to try and grab what he can out of the blue side jungle of Team Liquid while nobody's home.
That was a
blue buff.
ridiculously aggressive play by Lemon Nation. He ran 2 people out of that side of the jungle with no backup. This is actually a pretty big advantage to Cloud9 in my opinion, both for the solo experience they're able to get to balls, and because Meteos isn't meaningfully denied in this jungle, thanks to the spotting by Lemon Nation.
Balls is slowly taking that wave down too, making sure he gets all of it, and it's not pushed to the turret here for Quas, so he could have a harder time than usual. Piglet going aggressive in the top lane onto Sneaky with a bit of that storm shield on, helps him out. So good aggression here already as Cloud9. It's a little bit of vision in the early game for Knowledge, but not able to work anything off of it.
Yeah, that is the one advantage that Team Liquid gains about that strong side invade, is they did get Piglet a guaranteed early level 2. Lemon Nation slow to rotate, and Piglet next special doing as much as they can to punish this. And that has been one of the big keys to Team Liquid's resurgence, is the focus in early game strategy to make sure Piglet gets a good start.
Yeah, we'll see where Meteos decides to go early on. Because Gragas is one of the few Cinder Hulk junglers that has a really strong early presence. Plus the ability to hop walls means that he can come at you from different angles. Up early on in the top lane there, only 1 ward so far. Meteos already level 3 and fairly healthy. Looks like he is just going to continue on with his jungling though.
And a completely unpredictable jungle route. He did bottom side of his own red jungle, stole blue, horizontally across the map, back to the other blue. As far as guessing where Meteos goes right now, there's no logical path that Team Liquid can take to figure out where he goes.
Plus, since he spent so much time walking around, whenever Gragas is just covering distance on the map, regenerates a lot of HP due to his passive. And he's got control of both blue buffs, so he can just spam spells. And the early game really should be dictated by Meteos. We'll see where, it looks like right now he's just going to continue to hard farm. Lemon Nation and Sneaky all on their own up in the top side here. Evening it up, getting a little bit of lane presence themselves. But man, the Hecarim that we talked about, again, this is such a snowbally combination. Hecarim plus Draven.
Cloud9 is absolutely winning this early game. 3 buffs, 4 Meteos. Ball's got the early experience, so he is actually able to lane 1v1 against Sion, which if that was a straight up 1v1, could not happen. Plus Meteos will get the first chance at a gank.
Yeah, on list.
Whoa!
Nice.
Right on the
Done.
list. Level 5, not 6 yet, not close. Not going to be able to hit it, but Dominate's there. He's going to be able to counter. Permafrost doesn't keep him in range enough. And a nice counter engage to that Jungle Gang.
Yeah, a lot of HP loss for both solo laners. They'll probably both return after that wave. Very good counter gank there, though, for Dominate to be in the right place. Just clearing his wolves and head straight up the mid lane. Fortunate for Team Liquid. But again, the importance of Quas keeping track of balls, he definitely has to alert the top lane when the Hecarim goes missing after home guards are completed. Right now, though, it's just the rush to level 2 boost. Nice binding.
It's a lot of Draven damage right there.
Yep.
And a lot
Also-
of Lucian damage.
Piglet's completely taking advantage of every time there's a catch, he's getting that Q right through a minion onto sneaky damage. It's almost telling him where to fire each time. He's taking full control. Very nicely done by him. Pick Special always on the back to get the shields in. And 45 to 37 in that bottom lane as well. Charlie was speaking to you, Kobe, and said Quas is one of the factors they need to shut down. So far, so good.
Yeah, we haven't
Can still get big, though.
We haven't gotten to see balls in a 1 versus 1 situation in such a long time.
That's true.
Ooh, very good tornado. Not only does it stop the back, but a little bit of extra harass. We'll see if Piglet tries to push it any further and continue to harass Sneaky as he CS's under the turret.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest advantages of pushing this early in the game, is trying to harass your opponent while they're under the turret trying to CS. And Sneaky just misses one right there as well.
Balls now on the roam.
They know that there's no flash on this mid laner.
Oh.
Thing is, there's no flash on either mid laner. It makes it a bit of a battlefield in that mid lane when both guys burn flashes as well as the jungler's burning flashes. It means the next engagement, if it happens within the next 5 minutes of those flash cooldowns, can end up being a lot more bloody. Meteos has a bit more freedom, in my opinion, than I Will Dominate Sejuani, just because river control and I think a little bit tankier of a champion rather.
Well, there's definitely focus around mid. Already Pink Ward still going down. Dominate's going to be hovering that top side.
Such
Sandra as well. Where do
Level
they decide to
6
go
already,
from
though.
this one?
All right, focus top lane here.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be
both
good. coming in.
teleports are available. Sneaky still low under
They
the
could
turret.
get
The
something
constant
here.
harass.
They're ahead of Meteos on this rush, and the Black Shield's burned.
They sensed it so far ahead of time. Sneaky!
No!
He gets out of the ultimate. He thought he was going for the brush, and Dominate just huffs it over his shoulder, whiffing that one. And they only get elimination on that one for first blood.
First blood pretty big there for Team Liquid, though. Up until this point, dead even between the two teams. So, in response, of course, mid lane shove, try and deny at least a minion wave. Quas also canceled his teleport, as did Balv, so they're also still even on teleports here. Incredibly close game still.
One kill could have easily been 2, but I can't criticize Dominate too heavily for missing that Sejal because Sneaky was waiting for the jukes with both flash and heal for extra move speed.
Very flashable skill.
Very flashable. The wind up on that thing.
Also
Quite
Adrenaline
long.
Rush. He had all the means. Everything to get out of it. Back and forth in this wet noodle fight here in what is the top lane, but we're on the bottom side of the map. 8 minutes in, 70 to 63, so Quas has done a very nice job of keeping himself relevant in that lane.
Because Meteos was chasing around Dominate right there, a very delayed level 6. He actually just got that by taking the small golem by the blue. And Dominate is doing a very good predictive job of this. Lemon, what's he doing in mid lane?
That does not look like he's going to be living very long. That's what is happening right now. Hai offers up a Frost Bomb, but it obviously isn't enough.
All right.
Very peculiar move right there. It seemed like Lemon was trying to do a bit of a rotation mid to get pressure on the mid turret, but they didn't keep track, actually.
Well,
Yeah.
it's so common for the supports to start roaming after their first back. You'll almost always see those supports roam after their first back, but
not the AD
Piglet also roamed. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Piglet was backing up Special in his roam, so Piglet with a huge lead now for Team Liquid, just where they want their money early on this Lucian. This is actually very good news here for Team Liquid to get such a good early lead. The BF sword to try and keep down this Draven. While Sneaky didn't die and lose his adoration stacks in the early dive, he is definitely outclassed in the lane right now. Pickaxe to BF sword and longsword.
He is behind by so much. Even just the straight attack damage is 150 on the side of Piglet before the Janna shield and 113 onto Sneaky. That is an untradeable lane. even if they land a Dark Binding, I feel like Piglet would just turn and fight.
Yeah, it did not work out for them this time. Going with the matched up lanes, it seems like the duo of Piglet and Xpecial has definitely been getting stronger throughout the season.
All right, well, we are still looking for that wild card, the early Hecarim home guard teleport.
Yeah,
Balls does
it's
have it
still alive.
available, but teleport cooldown, as we said, was used in the top skirmish, so once that comes back up, we'll see if he can make any moves. As of right now, though, Team Liquid also a lot of turret pressure up in this top lane because of how oppressive Piglet and Xpecial have been.
Yeah, Piglet is looking really comfortable right now.
Tower shot on his way out, though. Gonna help out Sneaky a little bit here.
Use this to get another gank in the top lane. Fortunately not in position for it. You see Balls getting solo farm in the bottom. High could look to open up the map here. Good pressure from Phoenix in the mid lane. Phoenix been playing very well on a versatile amount of champions lately. You can't really tell what's going to come in from him in Champion Select. He is down 20 CS in the mid lane right now as Cloud9 loses their top turret.
Yeah, this duo of Lucian and Janna can murder turrets. Outer turrets at this point in the game are butter for him. If they get that duo roaming, they can easily knock down a few more. Cloud9, though, going to open up the middle of the map. We'll see if they can get some more ward coverage for themselves.
Yeah.
Try and keep track of Dominate, because Dominate's got the Sejuani ult as well as Flash available. Looks like they're going to turn their attention towards Dragon after the top lane was taken. Sneaky solo farm. Cloud9 may just have to give this one up. Their AD carry's not going to join this one. Early Dragon, not quite that big of a deal at this point in the game, so Cloud9 probably not going to try and fight it. Let Sneaky solo farm.
The question will be now whether Team Liquid can turn this into pressure outside of the Dragon. Piglet rotating down with the huge item lead. Now will Team Liquid be able to go elsewhere and take more turrets because they have the potential for a really big power spike soon. Quas completing that Frozen Heart before Cloud9 has any magic penetration on High's Corki. They're pretty much just doing physical damage for the most part. And Quas could really become part of a great roaming turret-taking squad with the Janna Lucian to take down turrets and the Scion to basically protect the wave with his body from any wave clear that Cloud9 might have.
We'll see where they go after this Dragon. Dominate getting big now. And with Quas getting just as big, they may want to start starting their own fights here if they have eyes on Balls and he can't get that home guard teleport in. They have actually switched back to regular lanes with Meteos now starting to hover the bottom. They want to try to maybe get Sneaky going after having a rough early game.
High must be sitting on a huge amount of cash as well. Yeah.
You'd say?
2,600 right now. He's sitting on only Sheen in lane.
He wants Triforce.
He's going to go back and buy a full Triforce when he does base here. And that may be the power spike that Cloud9 are looking for, you know, to get back this 1,000 gold that came from the extra 2 kills here from Team Liquid. Let's see, though. Sneaky still stacking up the Adoration. He has yet to die, so he can still cash in if he gets a lot of help.
Wow.
Yeah, he needs a lot of help, though. It's remarkable how Piglet and Xpecial have stuck with this 2v2 lane because it is not a winning matchup for Sneaky right now.
No, and one stand aside, one binding, Xpecial's gone, and Piglet would be left alone. That's what you expect to see.
That's what they'd hope. But the thing is, if you land a binding, Piglet's just going to go right at them. Yeah. And he has had some superior attack damage, but the shop gold is actually quite different right now. The power with those two is as close as it's going to get.
So when you sweep a ward like that in Tribush, that's got to alert Team Liquid that Meteos may be in the area. So Cloud9 still have to be fairly careful here. Dominate snuck his way into the brush, and because he has the Raptor buff, he knows that Cloud9 have no inkling that he's down here. Their bottom lane playing so aggressively, though, that Dominate is pretty much just there for counter gank insurance since the Tribush ward was cleared.
Well, it would have been good timing. Piglet's out of mana if Meteos did decide to make himself. Oh, maybe he will now. I was going to say make himself part of this fight, but
Piglet
he waits.
can go back and get an IE, which will be long before Sneaky will have a chance to. It's a 1,300 gold lead on the 80 carries. So that's basically the entirety of Team Liquid's gold lead is Piglet over Sneaky, which is pretty crazy. Sneaky's the most consistent, best player on Cloud9 all split. And because of a little bit of an early game lead with Lemonation being behind in experience and a nice 4-man roam that Team Liquid did earlier,
Yeah.
Giving Piglet a huge edge.
I think it's all going to be about the double Trinity Force spike because just having one on Corki is good for Cloud9, but it's not enough to overcome the lead that Team Liquid have right now. So they may actually even wait longer for Balls to grab his as well. But again, the teleports are still up. We're still looking for these top laners to impact the rest of the game rather than being on their own island. Sion could very well do the same thing. I mean, we're talking a lot about the home guard teleport, but Sion Ultimate also can force things, especially in the long lanes when all these outer turrets start to go down.
Well, I was going to say, they're taking a little bit to group the amount of power that they have, but it looks like they finally headed towards mid here. Team Liquid looking to take down one of the final turrets as High is just left soloing the bottom one himself.
Dominate on full HP, looking to invade here. Backed up by Piglet. Infinity Edge completed.
Looks like they get out of that one safely. No vision, I think, from Cloud9 on that one either, as Team Liquid has had the top side of the river the entire time. Able to counter gank Meteos as well on his ganks towards middle, trying to take down Phoenix. He's gotten himself out and 2 assists for his troubles in that mid lane. Piglet still wreaking havoc here, putting pressure wherever Sneaky is, and he has to respond.
I'm actually really surprised.
The Vamp Scepter?
The Vamp Scepter.
Yeah,
from
I was
High.
just looking at that too.
I thought for sure he'd be going Luden, Zeko, Corki this game to differentiate their damage and increase their poke, but he is going for the AD carry Corki build. Not even Sorcerer Shoes to go along with his Trinity Force Pike against a team that has 2 heavy armor stackers.
And I think that does signal that Cloud9 are looking more for the mid-game win because...
They just want to push turrets.
Yeah, because the Luden's Echo actually seems like it scales a bit better than standard AD Corki build.
I would say that's true.
And it may want to make a really hard mid-game push there when they do get the double Trinity Force.
Well, what they're doing right now could put them in a position for some wards at least. They did put one down by blue. That could be a teleport for Balls a little later. Meteos here now towards the bottom line.
Oh, good poke there, landed from High.
Like going to back off on this one.
Luden's Echo or not, the level 11 for Corki is ridiculous. Level 2 on those rockets, taking their toll on the mage, who cannot lifesteal off of creeps. Piglet though, protected by shield.
This game
can life.
This game is definitely stalled out.
Yeah.
There's some very questionable things happening with the Cloud9 item builds as well. Sneaky just picked up an Avarice Blade instead of trying his best to finish the Infinity Edge, but that kind of signals to me that they're hoping they don't get a real fight anytime soon.
Well,
there's a
Liquid
chance
has
that
given
the
them
small
so much
amount of crit
breathing
can
room.
help. Maybe.
Plus it makes you question, is he going to go Ghost Blade Infinity Edge or is he going Static Shiv? Because Ghost Blade seems like it would be less effective since there's early armor stacking already. Flat penetration isn't going to be that great.
It's just Cloud9 going in a couple of unorthodox directions with item builds, and especially with this Dragon 2 coming up, they're in position to maybe contest. This would have to be a teleport in for Balls. He can't even charge his home guard.
I actually like trading the top turret here for Dragon 2 for Cloud9. Dragon 2, they're not that worried about... Whoa, he goes in for the steal.
Close.
Almost gets it.
Oh, Sneaky. Sneaky way too deep on that one. Didn't know Phoenix was just above him. He does not cash in on that. Lemonation's about to take one more Q from Phoenix. They can clean this one up as Piglet arrives. He heals Dominate. He stays alive for just a second longer and long enough for the fight to go Team Liquid's way. High running for mid.
High's really got to get out of there.
Woo! Yeah, that was very strange for a number of reasons. Team Liquid was doing the right thing, positioning with their power spikes, going for Dragon, knowing they had a Frozen Heart against an AD team, and that they can win any fight that they take. And then Sneaky gets bloodthirsty trying to cash in his adoration, hoping that he gets that, finishes an Infinity Edge, and goes to snowball the game. But everything goes wrong. They were the weaker team at the time. They did not have a home guard teleport to come back in, and they pay the price.
Yeah, that's why I really thought Cloud9 were going to opt for the trade there and trade that top turret.
Yeah.
But Meteos goes in for the steal, and then they have the Draven initiation. Now, there is a good... Dominate locks up Balls with the Sejuani ultimate early on, but really, Special flashing in for the Janna ultimate is what turned the tides of this fight. When Quas does not go down, Cloud9 get demoralized. They can't clean up the rest of the fight here. Sneaky's already down. All their damage has been broken at this point. And Special comes up with a huge reset for that fight, saving Quas. disengaging the members of Cloud9 and allowing Team Liquid to pick up some extra kills there. What a huge swing for Team Liquid. Plus, with Sneaky going down, that big cash-in that they were waiting for gets cut in half.
He was around 350 adoration stacks before that fight, which would have been a very generous cash bonus. And we've seen him get success before by flashing in just to get a kill. We saw it in the COG game where he flashed in to kill Double Lift, but he was trying to flash in and kill a Frozen Heart Scion that time, so that did not deliver.
Yeah.
One does not look good for Cloud9. Definitely thinking about what happened in Picks and Bans, how that could have gone better. Great picks taken by Team Liquid, thwarting what a Cloud9 could have done in this one. Hi, my name is Piglet, and you are dead. He dies so fast, he actually takes the aggro off of Lemon Nation. Now they can't save him after that one. He went a little too hard that time.
Piglet just establishing his dominance.
Yeah, I guess so.
Taking down the adoration stacks again.
Yeah, honestly, it seems like a bit of a foolish move by Piglet because he did have a bounty on him, but there was a pretty high chance he gets
it was. You can still call it that because he uses flash as well. So
most of it was the play of Lemon Nation, though, landing the binding and then locking up with the stun. Otherwise, Piglet could have gone in and out. Plus, they end up getting a turret and they cut the adoration stacks. I actually can't say it's that bad of a play by Piglet.
Worth.
Definitely calling worth after that one.
Mostly worth.
You can make the argument that it is worth.
Well, right now he may have gotten the argument of, all right, calm down a little bit. That was a little too hard from the team, and we'll see if he corrects the play there. Still a good push on the bottom lane and an immense amount of wards for Team Liquid on the bottom half of that map, giving up Cloud9, because if Cloud9's also not on that wards, they know they're on the top side of the map.
Yeah, and you know, they picked up the double Train Force right after that disastrous Dragon fight.
The timing just wasn't there.
It really depletes the...
Yeah.
Another Sigil, another Flash Burn, plus they may even still pick up the kill.
There's only so much you can do,
And they also gave it to Piglet. That was really nice discipline by Team Liquid overall, knowing the Piglet is in position to carry this game with their tank team and crowd control. Team Liquid is abusing their power spikes very well, and Cloud9 disregarded them, which they are paying for.
Yeah, and remember how much the first game of the series was talked up, how much it means for both of these guys with Team Liquid being such an emotional team and riding high on the confidence of taking down COG. Everyone's like, oh, you know, Cloud9's a completely different story.
Yeah.
Don't get overexcited, but Team Liquid with a really strong showing here early on, and we've seen how much momentum really does mean in the best of fives. Liquid, though, gonna have to do some work to get Phoenix out of here.
Oh, Sneaky just can't catch a break.
They really wanted to give it over to him, but time to hightail it out of there. Quas doesn't have his ultimate or his flash. So
he still wants him. He's still going for it.
He's just limping along.
You don't always get what you want.
He drives right by.
What's interesting to note is even though Team Liquid has been dominating the pressure in this game, Cloud9 is picking up enough stuff on the backsides. Their CS numbers are very high. Balls at 211 CS to 160 balls. Turrets are only one behind for Cloud9. The two Dragons at this point in the game aren't that meaningful until they stack a little bit later, or they can continue to deny Cloud9. We've done a lot of talking about what Team Liquid has done right and what Cloud9 has done wrong. But what Cloud9 has done right is keep the trading in this game alive.
Doing it under our nose.
And they're not dead yet.
They're 113 from Meteos to the 87 of Dominate, so he's going to be a big factor in the fights as well as that tank we were talking about.
Yeah, Cloud9, they're not dead yet, but they're facing a map that's littered with Team Liquid wards. So Team Liquid have done a very good job of getting those deep wards after they got their lead. Plus, this front line from Team Liquid is going to be so troublesome.
Massive.
A double Frozen Heart front line against the double AD team. And this is not a looted Echo Corki either. This is the Blade of the Ruin King early on.
We're so far away from Cloud9 picking up Armor Pen as well.
It's going to be very difficult here for Cloud9 to pull off the win, but they would have to, you know, catch some sort of fight here with a numbers advantage. Maybe get somebody out of position.
Maybe like that.
Good start there for Cloud9. See if they can capitalize on it, though. Dragon's up, Baron's up. They have a pink ward on Baron.
Baron will be reaching, I feel like.
Mito's going to clear it out.
The back
that's
for
about it.
Teleport Home Guard possibly here from Balls as well to start things off. He's backing with 400 gold. So just to get that health crystal.
Surprising to me that Cloud9 doesn't run down and at least try and force Dragon, but they did just catch a support. They still have to respect the double Frozen Heart tank line that is Team Liquid. 24 minutes in, with double 80 carries and Gragas, they have a lot of control on that area. Maybe this is the home guard TP X Factor.
They were waiting for it. Right onto Piglet. They get the fear as well. It's only going to be a few more swipes as he copters around. High is diving in just to get Piglet. Blocks from Quas as he's the meat shield there. Now back on to dominate in the mid lane as they chase Piglet down. He's going to burn. The true damage drops him. Sneaky finally cashes in, but there wasn't even that much for him to get an adoration. And that becomes just a chase. Does Cloud9 go for Baron?
It's all about how much Cloud9 can take off of that one catch of X Special. It is all waiting together.
Boz has
Now they
home
try
guard,
Baron.
but no teleport, so he can home guard up there, but it's still going to be a little bit for him.
No. This is
the Monsoon steal.
Phoenix has no ultimate.
Yeah, but look at how low Cloud9 is. There's no mana on Sneaky. This is disaster.
Oh, the claw goes in, but the claw's not taken by Phoenix. That means his initiation is kind of thwarted here. He stays on the back. Meteos in by himself. Get out of there. Oh, no, you can still get attacked back there. Get out. They're still going. Baron's hitting people all the way outside. Ball sticks the last shot. Quas, again, on the front line. A huge meat shield for the team is leading the charge. Phoenix, once again, wastes the claw. He's still now with the back line of the team as it is just a back and forth scrap skirmish.
Now is it going to be traded off here? Piglet starts up the Baron. Now this is how you keep it
Dominate's
exciting.
coming out.
Yeah, okay, so Team Liquid pretty low from this. The ultimates
out of mana, though. I think this is...
Dominates here. No ultimates on pretty much anyone because the fight has been continuous.
Balls gets hit. He still has Ignite for that top lane, so it could be a kill factor. It's going to have to be the disengage, though. Sneaky's going for the bottom wave. It looks like Team Liquid's going to go for the push.
I think it's Dragon, though, because High's out of mana and the rest of Cloud9 are really low. I think that's going to be Dragon. So they chase them off Baron, but they are going to give up the Dragon. So, yes, hindsight 2020, but Cloud9 opted for the very impactful comeback play.
Yes.
If they could have pulled it off, if they had more damage, but they didn't really take into account their low mana bars, and they cede over another advantage here to Team Liquid. Number 3 is actually fairly important for them. With the move speed of the double Frozen Heart front line, things get very tricky for Cloud9.
Some incredibly bold shot calling, I would say.
I mean, you
it's
could tell
not like
you could tell that they felt that inkling of desperation with their backs against the walls, and having fumbled the early power spike, they really wanted to make a big, impactful comeback play. But again, kind of overreaching.
They have everything right after they need it.
Yeah. The CS lead from Balls is also pretty big. The gold in this game is incredibly close. If Cloud9 could have finagled that pick from X Special onto a Dragon, and instead of that extended Baron fight, they would be substantially more in this game because then they would have access to the bonuses. Now, Team Liquid is faster. They're closer to 5 Dragons. They still have the armor stacking. We're still a long ways from Cloud9 picking up Last Whispers and meaningful teamfight wins without a catch.
I mean, Sneaky has gone for that Ghost Blade. It's a very late Ghost Blade to come in, and there's not many people that have low enough armor for that Ghost Blade to have a really big effect. If he does get into a situation where he's got some alone time with Piglet or X Special, then yes, maybe he can cash in and make it worth, but we'll see if they can actually pull off one of those plays, catch Piglet out of position. That will take some better ward coverage from Cloud9.
Just pinged out by the Raptor camp. I'm pretty sure they did not see Dominate back there. Ball's cleaning up in the mid lane, almost level 16. He's the only 15 in the game, and that would be a huge factor in the ultimate realm for that next fight. 30 minutes coming up on the clock. As you were right, Jack, Cloud9 is stuck very strong in this game. The Righteous Glory now finished for Meteos means they're going to be in the face of Team Liquid much more.
And Team Liquid needs to control the map right now. Cloud9's done a lot to split them up and then try and find catches, even though Team Liquid has pretty good ward control. So Team Liquid now, wards around the Baron area. Their side lanes aren't pushing heavily. At this point, Team Liquid needs to deny, sweep, and get the vision at Baron so that they can force Cloud9 into them and potentially win a team fight. They're just still a little desynced on all of their recalls. Look at that. One guy goes back while Quas tries to push top. They're almost playing catch-up to Cloud9's map play.
Yeah, it's true. The small advantage means nothing if you don't perform in the team fight. And the first step of getting that good team fight is trying to gain control of the middle section of the map so that you can actually have the initiation on your terms. They would love to have Quas started off with his ultimate, and chain the hard CC from Dominate and Phoenix. But Cloud9 have done a pretty good job of wrestling back that vision control, getting some true sight up around the mid lane here.
See if they can get to that turret line. It'll be a nice surge in gold for them as well to keep coming back even stronger. And that is what Piglet and the rest of the team is trying to stop. Piglet, 4 kills on the board.
Here it is.
Everybody else has 1. This could be that initiation. The dinner bell goes off. Sneaky gets the black shield, so he doesn't really get too much off of that. Just the slow on the end. Then he gets the glacial tomb. It is going to be all onto him. And Ball's now on the backside. Liquid is nicely on the Monsoon. They're getting all the heal that they need, and Cloud9 can't really dent him now. Piglet has hardly taken even any damage in this fight, and they are gonna once again push Cloud9 out of the middle, out of a fight, and High dives in, trying to throw down that equalizer we all know so well.
Even with the desynchronized initiation with Quas not landing spells and a pretty good start by Cloud9, they could not break through the tanks of Team Liquid.
Yeah, Piglet free firing from the back line here on Lucian, able to follow up on the front line from Team Liquid. Piglet has built the pure DPS build for AD carry, and because Sneaky had to spend so much time retreating and backtracking, not a lot of damage output from Cloud9 after they're able to at least peel the initial wave there. And it was a good job there by Balls to actually get the ultimate off for peeling and try and get Phoenix out of there.
Start of this fight, Team Liquid realized that they had Cloud9 corralled once, so they figured they get a 5v5. They didn't really care about how sloppy the initiation would be as long as it's all 5 people right there. Yeah. Again, look at Sneaky at the back of the fight. Can't contribute. High, throwing those little missiles into the tanks doesn't do much, and it's Piglet with the Janna shield free hitting.
Yeah, he dashes into the center of that team fight at the very beginning, constantly firing, and High here trying to pick off Special from the back line.
Nice dukes.
That's just, they were outnumbered at the end and can't pick up the extra kill here for the support. Team Liquid, huge momentum swing there.
You can see the bit of going for broke here by Cloud9. Kind of throwing it all on the table for that that last fight there in this first game. I mean, it's the game you really got to kind of pull out all the stops. You have the most room to stretch your legs if you're going to do something, so why not try it when you have more games to play with? But hopefully it's not too demoralizing here within this one, because the fights, they're missing slivers of health on some of the champions and then losing the entire fight.
That's why I kept saying it really looked like Cloud9 were going for a big mid-game power play, because in the late game here, this is the problem that they're running into. Yeah, and right now, Team Liquid very securely holding on to this mid-game advantage and actually pressing it fairly well.
And Cloud9 also has item leads in the right places. Not only do they have the strong tank line, but also they have Piglet with the most gold on the team to bring the damage behind the protection of the tanks. Dragon 4 on the way. It's something Cloud9 would love to be able to stop, but it just doesn't seem possible.
Yeah, I mean, with Balls having to use his ultimate to peel Phoenix off of Sneaky rather than dive Piglet, that was the main difference there. The last time we saw them fight, Balls actually singled out Piglet and had him on the run for the entire time. If he can keep Lucian running, or if he can actually score a kill on them, then maybe Cloud9 claw their way back in. But Piglet here, full offense, Lucian just bringing too much to the table with this very safe front line that he has to work behind.
Well, let's see if Team Liquid can kind of ace the next test here, which would really play on the minds of Cloud9, is how fast can they close out the game with this lead. It seems like a fight could go in their favor pretty quick and be over very fast, but those death timers aren't too long. Let's see, Team Liquid setting up for those mid-fights. They're not actually too worried about engaging their own. They're letting Cloud9 kind of work into a position, and then Team Liquid takes the fight.
What a good start for morale for Team Liquid too. You know, 18-1 Cloud9's record against them. Really, really intimidating to even go into a best-of-5 series with that kind of score. But again, they've got new players on the roster, and they got
fresh blood
resurgence. Yeah, against the after the win there against CLG, huge confidence for Team Liquid coming into this.
And the difference with the way Team Liquid is playing from the regular season, Piglet in particular, and the team playing around him, from regular season to playoffs, it is night and day. Piglet had awful regular season statistics. He played 2/3 of the game, so 12 games, only had 33 kills overall. He had 25 kills last week, 6 in this game.
All right, here we go. This is going to be it.
This is the fight.
They go in, the vision's not fully there. Dominate gets locked up, so it's going to be Quas now on the front line. They have those Bash brothers to keep going in, though. Beautiful positioning by Phoenix, Special, and Piglet as they answer this one. Piglet off to the side, do the explosive cast, but he dies right over the wall. A double kill to start off the fight. It's going to be High jumping out. Balls is already retreated on the fight, and they're going to be chasing down towards Meteos. He's just going to give them a run for their money as Team Liquid wins another one.
Piglet actually got knocked out of the fight, and he flashes back in point blank to kill Sneaky right there.
There's no threat on them in team fights right now. Cloud9 is trying to initiate scatter tactics now. The team fight game is over. Let's see them run around.
It's the guerrilla warfare strat. Hit and run. They try to get mid-turret. Obviously, Baron goes down, which means the side waves are going to start pouring in now. If Team Liquid wants to push the minions, Cloud9, they're getting pushed up back against the wall here, but they're still trying to squeeze out whatever advantage they can. Lost a few members on that one, but they do get away with mid-turret.
And it wasn't like it was a horrendous misplay that caused the game to go this direction. Remember this slight, it started off very slowly with slight leads for Team Liquid in the laning phase in that top lane. Let's take a look at the fight though. Once again, Cloud9 able to land a little bit of poke, but it does not matter. Quad head right into the middle of the team, calling on balls. Piglet chases him right out of the team fight and then flashes in to finish off Sneaky and point blank into elimination face.
Dominate with that Sejuani ultimate as well. Right onto the face of Sneaky. There's no Mikhails on Lemon Nation since the Black Shield was not applied for the Sejuani ult. Nothing they could do to protect.
I think if there is one big play that Cloud9 really regretted in this game, it's that Dragon fight, where they could have traded for the top turret, but actually decided to force it and had Sneaky initiate with the Draven. So I think that is maybe their one regret.
I think that's...
Look, going into game 2 here, but...
That has to be the biggest regret of all because they did not have the itemization to take that fight. Sneaky, he sold out for a kill and didn't get it. You know, when that happens as Draven, he loses the game to the other AD carry. That was the turning point of Team Liquid taking over this game. The rest of it has been Team Liquid avoiding Cloud9's catch potential, getting their own catches. And I mean, at this point, Piglet would have to make a catastrophic error to die in these fights. Janus Shield, QSS, and a whole ton of damage.
Yeah, he's literally dashing and flashing into the middle of the team fight, and Cloud9 cannot punish it.
Yep.
He's only 3,600 gold over Sneaky. He's kind of rich this game. So another 1,300 gold sitting in his pocket that he doesn't really have time to spend all just yet because he's farming more in the bottom lane. The team comes to meet him as they gather here.
11-20 crit on the creep.
They're going to push in this turret not long for this world here. We'll see what Cloud9 can do as they put their dukes up, most likely one last time here in game 1. Ball's going to back off.
It's crazy.
No engage for him.
It's only a 4,000 gold lead. But because Cloud9 is so heavily physical damage, Team Liquid has itemized so heavily armor, and because the gold is in the damage dealers for Team Liquid, it feels much worse.
Oh, right over the wall, coming from the fog of war practically, and it's going to be the hit that Team Liquid wanted. Cloud9 and the rest of the members looking for the fountain, and the Nexus turret's in the eyes of Team Liquid here. Game 1, 38 minutes in, a 14-6. Like you said, Jat, the gold isn't that spread, but the map domination, the team domination, and the composition domination here coming from Team Liquid as they try to put the finishing touches on Cloud9 and push them off one last time.
I don't think they can finish. Piglet went too deep at the end of that fight trying to pick up the last few kills, and it will delay the game. They actually can save these Nexus turrets.
All right, Cloud9 gonna hold on here. 2 inhibitors down, though.
With the anti-win. God.
I know. They were so close. Honestly, Piglet, if he just focuses the Nexus turrets while all that stuff is happening off on the side.
He's got a GA.
Sold his QSS.
Very rarely do we see the defensive item GA for AD carries. But Piglet just gonna pop right back up if they ever do catch him out.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't just go Blade of the Ruin King.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like it's optimal still, but at this point, it honestly doesn't really matter.
Especially if they can get this 5th dragon with 2 inhibitors down.
Yeah.
They're waiting for Piglet in case a fight breaks out at Dragon.
We're talking about Team Liquid's confidence earlier, and I think trust, especially hearing that in the videos today, was a big thing. That was a big wall for them because Piglet said they trusted me, but then he said, then I trusted them.
Yes, that's the biggest part. We heard so much early on in the season when Piglet was trying to make his way into the team, how he would almost make other players second-guess some of their decisions. Because Dominate would want to do one thing, Piglet would want to do another. They'd have a lot of noise in their communication, and you can't have disagreements like that in the game. You have to default to trust. And that's what Team Liquid is playing like. When Dominate goes in, Piglet goes in with them. There's not that second-guessing in this game and in the COG series. 5 Dragons now, 2 inhibitors down. Team Liquid pushing inhibitor number 3.
This one will be tough. The stranglehold now onto Cloud9. If they can thwart this fight, they may have a good chance of bringing it till they can scale hard enough to really win the fights. But it is going to be tough as they pressure the last inhibitor turret.
All right, taking that one down very quickly, but Balls goes in.
Oh, he does.
AOE.
That's a lot of damage. That's a good binding as well. They cannot get to the back line. Sneaky, however, is now in the eyes of Piglet, and it only took 2 of those passive shots to hit him out of the fight. Meteos on the back line. He can only live for so long. The Guardian Angel keeping Piglet safe. He goes deep. The crits are hitting. The crits are counting, and he picks himself a triple kill here as they end the game now. Finally getting to the Nexus turrets without any Cloud9 members on the map. And the Rift is theirs in game 1, 20-7, 40 minutes on the clock. Team Liquid bring it to game 2, 1 up.
Well played from Team Liquid there.
Very well played. Not the start many of us expected from game 1 in this series. All the hype from Team Liquid, if you looked at their series last week against COG, you'd say they were on the upswing, but you also look at the way Cloud9 finished the regular season, they seemed much stronger. Remember, this is the number 2 seed against the number 6 seed. But it's also just game 1.
That is true.
Just game 1, and Cloud9 know where it went wrong that game as well.
Yeah.
It was honestly a very uncharacteristic call for them. I did not see them actually trying to force that dragon fight. Very surprising.
Yeah, I'd say that early game fight at the Dragon really swung that game in a different direction. It gives Team Liquid a ton of confidence because we look at the way Piglet and the rest of Team Liquid finished that game, and we've heard Piglet talk in the past that he's like playing against a bomb. You know,
right?
He is.
Tick, tick.
He's going off already. 12 kills in the first game. So much confidence and aggression that is going to move into the next games for Team Liquid. That is not the start you want to give Team Liquid. It makes them a real danger to maybe upset Cloud9 here.
Yeah, nobody's even close to him on that one. 40,000 some damage to himself. Really coming out strong. And when I was doing a little bit of research, obviously he was on SKT and he was a world. That team was amazing, right? Yeah. Everybody was the beneficiary of somebody's kills and somebody's. But even when FLICKR and the other guys were like 1-1-7 in a game, Piglet on Corki, Piglet on Kate, and 6-1-7, 6-1-8, he always was fragging well in the series when it came down to it, when his back was not against the wall, but when it counted, I guess.
He's that perfectionist. Everybody always likes to bring up the story where they won the game, yet he was so disappointed in his own performance. He was still sad, even though they won the game, because he didn't feel like he played up, to the bar that he sets for himself.
That's true. And I guess that's one thing we were talking about as well, those kind of butt heads, is if you are like that with yourself and you don't trust your team, all of that's just going to compound and become harder and harder. So for more on Team Liquid's decisive first win of that series, let's throw it over to the guys on the analyst desk.
Thank you, Riv. All right, 1-0, Team Liquid. Not looking good for you guys in your predictions, I have to say.
It's not looking good for us. All right, Zion's already out. You're out. You two, you're still okay. There's an opportunity for you.
Scam at UOL, man. 1-0, then just sweep it afterwards.
All right, so then let's break it down, though. How are your predictions going to come true here? Because Team Liquid, we've said, looking at Piglet being kind of the guy to break that mentality of the losing streak against Cloud9, he built that lead. He and Xpecial built that lead against Sneaky and Elimination in the top lane.
Yeah, I have to say I am absolutely very impressed with this Piglet Xpecial bottom lane. I think, guys, we need a nickname for these guys. We have Rush Hour. We have all these great names for good duos. Well, here's what's looking like the best duo in North America now. I know 40 minutes ago I'm like, Sneaky's number 1. Well, Piglet's challenging the throne really heavily here. To talk more about why that lane happened, though, why that lead happened. As far as you consider the supports, Janna versus Morgana, whoever pushes has a really big lead there, because if Morgana pushes and her lane pushes, you can go over binding snipes. And Janna has no harass, she has no sustain, you land a binding, that lane gets really chunked out, and it's free. If the Janna lane gets to push, there's all these minions in the way, and Morgana can't fish for bindings, and she becomes useless, right? Her shield doesn't stop attack damage, her CC doesn't mean anything, the pool damage doesn't matter at this point. So the push lead was a really big deal. Now the problem is, C9's level 1. They have Morgana run around in the jungle, like looking for where the starts are, and hey, she stops the blue buff steal, grats for her, but she leaves Sneaky in a 1-on-2. Sneaky misses some CS, Sneaky gets pushed in, and now you're in a holding pattern the entire lane long where Sneaky's getting pushed in, Sneaky's getting pushed in. Minions were close, but Sneaky's potion got used, Morgana's potions got used, and they even stopped enough recalls that they could go for like a super late level 6 mid laner dive. But like, all that was from the level 1 and getting a minion wave pushed in.
Yeah, and basically a ton of that, you talk about the potion getting used, was Piglet getting those Qs through the minion wave and lining them up perfectly. So they created a huge advantage off of Piglet. And this was a very different style from Team Liquid than we saw during the regular season. I know, Zion, you talked about that, where it's like they don't really play to Piglet during the regular season. And now it's completely different Team Liquid that Cloud9, if they were looking at the prep coming into this game, they were looking at a completely different Team Liquid.
Yeah, like the Team Liquid at this end of the split, like they came together, but what they came together with is they're not controlling Quas's lane anymore. Quas isn't the carry, Piglet is the carry, Piglet's the star. They're setting up the whole game for Piglet to get ahead, and then C9 has this comp where they need Draven to get ahead. And then Gragas is starting bottom side, Gragas can't help them. Lemon's like invading blue buff and trying to like stop, give balls a little bit of an advantage, but it's not doing anything because Piglet is getting ahead. And you look at that double tank comp with Lucian and Janna, the only way they're winning the game is if Lucian gets ahead, and Lucian got ahead, and C9 didn't do anything to stop that.
That's the next thing I want to talk about is the way these team comps worked out, and Cloud9 being so heavily AD against this full tank comp, relying on Sneaky needing that early lead that they can kind of bulldoze their way through them and not let the tanks get to power, but they did regardless. So do you think that's a little bit of hubris, a little bit of cockiness? They're going for the Draven pick early along with the Corki?
The idea is that you snowball the Draven with his passive very early and you crush that lane, and then he just is so much further ahead of everybody in terms of power spikes, but he didn't get to that point. He didn't get to cash in, and then he fell behind. And to the credit of Piglet, his spacing in team fights around his tanks is incredible. The way he's playing that 500 range Lucian, he's basically forming an Illuminati triangle with him. He's like, you two in front, I'll be right behind you at this perfect range the entire time.
And shooting everybody out. Yeah, I mean, to touch on your point about the team comps, C9 relies very heavily on their mid game going well, right? Jack talked about it on the cast. It's a massively AD team against a whole bunch of tanks. Big surprise, eventually the tanks outscale when they only have to buy Thornmails. But they've got 2 Triforce users in Hecarim and the Corki. They went for AD Corki and not like the Luden's Echo Poke style, so it's like really about that first 2 items coming in there. And it almost worked. Like the team fights were pretty close actually. C9 had the ability to use this mid-game power spike to actually win a couple of fights. And in fact, we have a dragon fight that sort of illuminates that, where C9 like say, okay, we're spiked up. This is the time we're going to go for the battle, and we're going to flip the game around. But
Speaking of which, let's pull that up. We're going to get that on your screens. Dragon fight, where yes, you're right. It's kind of that mid-game position where they can totally cash in on the Sneaky stacks. However, there's some slight mispositioning.
Yeah, Sneaky's positioning in this fight is a little questionable, and Phoenix is stalking him before this even starts. They're pinging him out, saying that they're going to be able to collapse on him. So as soon as they get this dragon, Team Liquid decide up and out, and then Sneaky looks for the flank here, but his positioning right there, he goes for the extra auto instead of ducking into the bush, which is unwarded. He would have been able to avoid the Lissandra ultimate if he had just gone inside the brush after throwing the E.
And just, I mean, obviously, like, really great flankability by Phoenix. And the thing is, C9 should have known about where Phoenix was coming from. He came from mid lane where there's minions, and, you know, the lack of awareness there, it's really unfortunate seeing that kind of misplay. You typically see players this caliber aware of where flankers are coming from, aware of what champions are on what side of the map. And that's the big risk of playing Draven. It's why we don't see him often competitive is, look, he might be really good and he might snowball really hard, but you have so little room for mistakes that if you make that mistake and you die and lose 150 stacks on Adoration, well, guess what? The entire reason you picked Draven's gone.
Yeah, Zion, I want to ask you because C9 is now in a bit of a deficit there. They've lost this mid-game fight that they maybe expected to win, which is why they engaged it. We later saw them win, or not win, they got a pick, rather, Onyx Special. And we saw them instead hover around the top side around Baron as opposed to go for the dragon that was up. Talk to me about what you would have done in that situation with your team in terms of communication, because they seem to stall out, and it's something that normally Cloud9 is so decisive, right? Normally they get a pick, they know exactly what they're doing. They kind of ran in circles for a minute, and what would have been the better outcome there?
Well, the thing I love about C9 is, like, more than any other team, they are so good at playing from behind. You know, they, like, find those picks, they get the vision out, and they're just split pushing all the time, like forcing you to group, forcing you to make that decisive, like Baron call, decisive dragon call, and push down. So C9's always splitting them up because that's the only thing they can do. They can't win these straight team fights, and looking for picks where they can, getting the vision they can. And, you know, they got that catch on Janna. They got, like, some good poke with Corki, but they were just so far behind. But that's what I love about C9 is they're always fighting and they're clawing their way back in, like getting those inner turrets when they can. And I think that's the kind of play that allows them to, come back from games where, honestly, most teams would probably just like caved in at 20 minutes when Piglet's 2-0. But, C9's trying to like find their way back into the game. And that's what I just really like about watching them.
All right, finally, I want to touch on what we might see change here, picks and bans, real quickly. I know, Zyrene, you had mentioned before that if Cloud9 win, they probably keep things just about the same. If they lose, maybe get rid of that Sejuani, as it is such a comfortable pick for Dominate.
Yeah, now they give over a lot of different things because they banned the Vlad, Lulu, and Urgot. Those are pretty much all first pick worthy by Team Liquid, and so is Sejuani. And so if you're going to run a double AD composition again, I want to see the Sejuani taken off the table in favor of one of those picks.
And as far as things I think that did go well, though, I actually liked the fact that we saw HEKRM come out here in the top lane for C9. Now that we know Liquids are playing very Piglet focused, it seems like C9 are aware of this. They're like, oh, Quas on the island, let's pick up a lane bully. Let's get a lead here in our top laner. Unfortunately, HEKRM does this and then kind of comes down after the Triforce power spike. So maybe something that has even farther reach into the game. I still like top lane Vlad, for example, if they can get that through picks and bans. Obviously, they banned it here, but something to that effect where Balls can beat up on Quas, he knows it's an island, and then scale from there.
All right, speaking about the top lane, Zion, you've gone up against Balls. What else does he have in his pool aside from HEKRM? We heard Jat mention the Maokai, not necessarily a carry, but a different playstyle that they've definitely preferred before. What would you go for?
Balls can like really play anything, honestly. I've seen him pull out the Gnar, the Maokai, Rumble, anything. I think what C9 really needs to do is kind of choose their identity and style that they're going to go with. So you saw Team Liquid, they went with the tanky Sion bottom, and they're like, okay, we're going to pressure Liquid's lane. C9 was like, let's pick Draven, let's pick HEKRM, but we're going bottom. They have to choose, like, are they going to play the tank bottom and pressure topside so they have a safe lane bottom when they're pressuring topside to stop Piglet? Or are they going to be like, all right, let's get Balls going against Quas, let's set them up on HEKRM again, but this time we're not going to go for the Draven pick top so that we have like a safe AD carry, like a Corki or something.
All right, well, the teams have a few more minutes to lock in their strategies. Keep it tuned right here, because after the break, it's on to Game 2 between Team Liquid versus Cloud9. You're watching the North American LCS.
Okay. Button it. Let me see it. No,
I was reading a Reddit that says you should never button the bottom one on your suit.
Charlie Moore.
Yeah, unbutton. Let me see.
Okay, do you want to play it for me?
Yeah, sure. Okay, go ahead.
Sneaky way too deep on that one. Didn't know Phoenix was just above him. He could. No, he does not cash in on that. Lemonation's about to take one more Q from Phoenix.
He's slowed. I can tank.
Corki to the back. Corki. He flashed in.
Tanking.
Nice. Phoenix special and Piglet as they answer this one. Piglet off to the side, do the explosive cast, but he dies right over the wall. A double kill to start off the fight. He can only live for so long. The Guardian Angel keeping Piglet safe. He goes deep. The crits are hitting. The crits are counting. Game 1, 20-7, 40 minutes on the clock. Team Liquid bring it to Game 2. 1-up.